So, welcome back to your midweek episode of the Theatres of Dreams, and it's wonderful to be joined by a full triplet of Todders. Theatre of Todders. I don't know. I've used that before. Theatre of Dreams Todders. I don't know. Anyway, I am here with Harry Maguire. Harry
It's
Maguire.
not
God,
quite, not quite. My head's not quite that big, Rod.
not that big. Harry Morell, who's just actually signed on for another season at the Theatre of Dreams, like our Harry, and Erin Carroll, who's signed for life. How are you anyway?
I'm all right. I'm starting a new petition just to ban added time at the end of 90 minutes after this weekend. There's just no need for it. But apart from that, we're all good.
Well, look, let's just start. This weird period where football, the FA Cup has upset me because it just upsets my football. But let's talk about Altrincham on the Friday before Easter, Friday, and it was a late goal. It's the late show for teams against Altrincham. They were 0-0 against Halifax, and then Turner Cook scores 4 minutes into extra time. Were either of you at this game or commentated on it?
I was there. I had the post-match interview afterwards with Neil Gibson for I always seem to get the really tough ones. It's like every time we seem to lose last minute, it seems to be me that gets the interview. But no, do you know what? I don't, judging by that second half, I don't think we deserve to lose it. But again, Harry, how many times have we said, how many times have we conceded late this season? And it's costing us week in, week out. It's so frustrating. Would you
Y-
agree?
Yeah, I suppose the only, if you're trying to look for the one positive of the game, is at least it's not another late red card for one of the Robins, because that's another theme as well. I think, yeah, the second half we seemed to perform quite well. Halifax really did have quite a lot of the chances in the first half, and they looked like quite a strong team. It looks like a team certainly who are pushing for the playoffs. They'll be disappointed. Well, they would have been disappointed if they only took a point away from the game. I think Altrincham would have wanted the referee to blow up quickly. Maybe he had somewhere else to be. I'm not quite sure. Probably on that occasion he didn't, because he wanted to eke the game out as long as possible. And look, scrappy goal at the end. We concede it, and yeah, we go away with empty-handed. And it's a shame, because we are very, very quickly running out of games, and just, well, it's obviously not been the season that we want it to be. If you look at the statement that the chairman put out last week, he completely acknowledged that and said to the fans, look, stick with us. It's not been the season we want, but we're aware and we're going to go again. And it's just disappointing when you drop switching off for what, a couple of seconds, and then Halifax put the ball in the back of the net, and it feels like an absolute sucker punch. And then having that again on the road at the LNER Stadium, it just seems to sum up the season. So if I could ask for anything, I don't think it's quite Christmas. Well, Easter miracle, so to speak, next season. Let us be winning late on rather than conceding and throwing away a lead late on.
What do you what do you put as being the reason for late goals? Because you could turn around as the attacking side and saying we never give up, and you're always at it, you're always making chances, you always feel there's a goal in you. But when you're the side that's conceding, is it fatigue? Is it lack of concentration? Is it that they get to 0-0 in normal time and think, right, job's done, where they're just relieved? What do you put it down to, guys?
I don't think you can put it down to one thing, really. I
No.
think it's a mix of things, whether it is fatigue because we're struggling with suspension and injury like we have been all season, or is it just complacency because it seems to be a recurring theme that we give the ball away and that's when other teams will hurt us. I mean, if you looked against Halifax, we that came from our own attack. We had an attack, the ball got bowled out, and they just went straight up the other end. I don't know whether it was complacency, but I mean, the goal at York on Monday, you can't, I don't know whether you've seen it, Harry. There's not a lot you can do really about that. It's literally just headed across the face of goal onto someone else, and he's just flicked it in to the empty side of the goal.
I think I completely echo exactly what you say there. There is no real one reason for why the season's gone the way that it has and why we keep conceding late on. I think if I was going to try and put a single thing on it, I might say the recruitment this season. We've been very unlucky. The fact we brought in someone like Charlie Olsen, who last season was an absolute pillar in the defensive line, and then obviously his hamstring's gone even before he's kicked a football for the Robins this season. So we've had issues there. We've had a number of changes, including some players, including The former captain who'd been with the club for so long, they've left the door. We've had managerial changes as well. We've had brief bits of positivity with Declan Howe coming in and then him getting recalled from loan. He was like a stabbed rat running after absolutely every single loose ball, and you miss things like that. I just think it's a compound of a number of things, and realistically, we're now a professional football club, and I know that a lot of the lads we've got in don't have that experience, but late on in games, we should just know, if in doubt, boot it out, and we could have had that for both games. Look, it's mightily disappointing, but look, we've got to go again. We know that we are pretty much secure in the league now. The fact that Truro City, their relegation's been confirmed, Braintree Town, their relegation's been confirmed as well. And look, the playoffs, well, they were long gone even before Christmas. So we've just got our job now is just to try and get as many positive results as possible, get into the summer training window as quickly as possible, secure those friendlies out, and hopefully spend well. And as I say, crucially, spend well and wisely, because this season we've spent a lot, as we did, but I don't think it's been quite in the right position. So bring on the new season, and hopefully the Robins will be bopping away up the league.
I was going to say, I'm looking at the Good Friday results, and surely the shock on Good Friday must have been Rochdale being beaten 4-2 at home when they are sitting second in the league. That could be a very, very expensive defeat at the hands of Morecambe, who are essentially looking like relegation contenders.
I think for Morecambe, they've had an upturn in form after bringing in the new manager. However, is it a case of it being too late for them to do something? I mean, maybe you could argue that Joe Howe should have been sacked a lot earlier than he was. Mm-hmm. And there was a lot of fans calling for it, but they've had a really good upturn in form. And I think Rochdale, they've got the strength definitely to go up. But I mean, they keep dropping silly, unnecessary points. I mean, Monday was another good example with a 0-0 draw, and that's not helping you. York have just become Centurions as well. They've broke 100 points in the league. I mean, I think both teams are on track to do that, aren't they? Yeah, both teams are on track to do it. Mm-hmm. I mean, how long has it been since we've had a title race as close as this between the two of them? You could argue Wrexham and Notts County a few years back, but it didn't go down to the final day.
No.
This is going to go down to the final day, and don't know whether you agree with me, Harry. I think York might just nick it.
I think if you're just looking at how it goes, I think York, the fact that they've broken 100 goals and they've also broken 100 points, it seems like the pendulum is swinging in their direction. I think if the Football League ever needed something to prove why there should be two automatics, I think this season is just the perfect example of why you need it. Because York City and Rochdale, they could comfortably survive in League Two. If you look at Oldham this season, they got promoted last season, not in the automatics, but off the playoffs at the expense of York City, and they're riding high in the in League Two and pushing for playoffs there as well. So look, I think Rochdale, they'll probably come the end of the season, they'll be sort of licking the wounds a little bit, thinking what could have been, but. If anybody's happy, I think that DAZN, the biggest, they'll be the ones with the biggest smile on the face, because I think that pay-per-view on the last day of the season, if it goes the distance, I think it could be one of the most subscribed games anyway in this league. But yeah, York, Rochdale, they've been real champions for this league. I think Carlisle, the less said about their result of the weekend, the better. But look, that's where. If we were in the playoffs, I don't think we would be this season, but it's just showing how big the divide can be in this league. If you look at the money that those two clubs have spent, it's astronomical. And look, it's done them a world of good, because 100 points in what is arguably one of the toughest leagues in the country, I think it's hats off to the York City board and hats off to the Rochdale board. Let's just see who can go the distance come the final game of the season.
So just to confirm, in the National League then, obviously the championship team, or the champion team, top team, goes automatically through to the next league. Is it then playoffs between 2 and 7 then?
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, I mean and actually you're talking about a points difference of nearly 30 points between Southend and 7th and Rochdale in 2nd. I mean, but you could see it, couldn't you? You could just see a turn of form over. Is it 2 legs as well?
Playoffs typically, yeah, I think they are. Mm-hmm. The eliminator definitely is. Yeah. I'm sure of that.
But if you look at last season as well, York they felt decidedly unlucky, and this is where there's obviously 3 up has been on around a conversation with not a lot of National League clubs for a long time. But York, they came. The distance between second and third was something like 30 points or something ridiculous like that. And Oldham, who got promoted, they got the last playoff spot. So it's in this league at this point now. You have to. It's a bit like with the Premier League. You have to realistically get 100 points to actually win the league. If you're looking at City Centurions and other teams like them, in this league, you need to be really well. I think York have done everything right so far. 100 goals, 100 points. It's just, as we said, there are a lot of tricky games for both clubs to go, and it could go down to the wire. And if it does, it would be a brilliant game of football to watch, especially for us neutrals.
Well, let's go from the Centurions to the Citizens, because on Saturday the Manchester City Citizens were playing Liverpool. And I gotta say, I don't often feel sorry for Liverpool, but it's weird how their season is going. You guys were immense on Saturday, Erin. Were you at this game?
I was not, no.
All right. I thought you were, but you 4-0, a hat trick from Howland and Semenyo once again scoring. What was the story of this game? Where you were just good, I assume.
It was just an absolute whitewash from start to finish, basically. I mean, Liverpool had the chances early on, but once City started to sort of really get a hold of it, it didn't look like stopping. I mean, obviously, Haaland netted a penalty. I mean, to be fair, I think in that opportunity, Nico O'Reilly probably could have scored from where he was, but Van Dijk decided to wipe him out for some unbeknownst reason. But no, we'll take it. I mean, Haaland, he was on form, and I mean, it's not often. I mean, people say that he ghosts in big games. I mean, playing Liverpool on any occasion is considered a big game,
It is.
and
This is a huge
especially
game.
to score a hat trick. I mean, his third goal was exceptional, where he sort of like just got in, walloped it, and it was in off the bar. It was really impressive. But I think for me, Liverpool had the majority. Liverpool had a slightly bit more possession than we did. We had 7 shots on target, um, out of the whole game. It was really impressive. But I mean, just Semenyo, I can't state how important he's been since coming in. Like you often say about people, like people said when he signed for City, oh, he's not going to fit in Pep's system. He's going to be this. He's going to be that. No.
He's really fit. He fitted in from the word go. He scored a goal quite early in his time with you, Aaron, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He did. He scored on his debut, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, I think he
Sorry, I don't know
did.
what's going on with my camera. He scored on his debut, which in any sort of sense of the word is impressive. But I mean, it's just the way he slotted in. Like you can tell other people and other teams wouldn't slot in that quickly. And I mean, with the players that he's playing up against in this City team and the wingers of past and present, you've got big shoes to fill. And as well, I'm going to mention the shirt number that he's wearing, 42, belonged to a legend of the club, Yaya Toure. You've got big shoes to fill, and he's done that superbly. I mean, the run against Liverpool and just to dink it over the keeper was so cheeky. It was unbelievable. And I just want
Well,
to point out another player that was instrumental in that one of Ryan Cherky. That man
yes.
he was an absolute bargain of the summer. I'm going to say bargain of the summer. 36 million we paid for him.
Where did he come from? Remind me.
Leon.
Oh,
Leon. He's had, I think he cost us 36 million, which is you'd say it's absolute peanuts in this market for a
it
player
is.
like that.
Yeah.
And he's got 23 goals and assists to his name in his first season.
That's a great start in your career in the EPL. You got to feel a wee bit sorry for Port Vale in the one of the other quarterfinals, 7-0. It was a romp, really, wasn't it? 3-0 at halftime. Less said, even Garnacho was getting the goal. He got a penalty at the end of it. And then a huge game down in the South Coast. And really, this is summing up Arsenal's season now. They go from a quadruple down to a possible. Is it a double now, or is it gone? Is this just a league? Is it?
It's a double into the Champions League and
Oh yeah, the
Premier
Champions
League.
League. But
How
wow, I mean, it's they really do need to get their act together, don't they? Because they were 1-0 down, and then Gyökeres scores. That's fine. Charles gets the winner in 85. I mean, they're in danger of absolutely throwing their season away. Arsenal. Do you think it's a chance?
Personally, on a City fan level, I hope this continues for as long as humanly possible. and I'm sure many fans would agree with me here. But to do that, I think losing that cup final psychologically hit them a bit because to go into that, I mean, yeah, I get Kepa's your cup keeper, but he's nowhere near good enough to be starting. But I mean, did you see this, Harry? Just to rub salt in Arsenal's wounds a little bit, that the player that scored the winner for Southampton was a City Academy graduate
Just
that
what
was sold in the summer of 24.
It's just what
Wow.
you love to see. It's just what you love to see. I think that cup final psychologically plays a massive role in the season. We could see the pundits were saying it as soon as it had finished. They're saying that this could now decide the title. But yeah, Southampton, what a run they're having! 50 years since their last and only FA Cup success, and they won it as the only team in the second division. And that was 1976, and they're wearing the shirt on homage to 1976 as well. So they'll be ecstatic to be going to Wembley. It's just a shame that the draw's gone the way that it has, because we could still be seeing a City-Chelsea final, which, obviously my team's not in it, and it'd be great if City don't have 2 trips to Wembley, or the 3rd trip this season.
Yeah.
But no, it's a shame that we aren't going to see a Southampton Leeds United semi, because I think that would be brilliant, because both sets of fans would take numbers down, and yeah, both of them have had success in the FA Cup, and it's the magic could still be alive. But yeah, what a weekend for FA Cup football, and I thought when we saw the 4-0 and the 7-0, I thought that's a whitewash. We've predicted this script, but then Southampton coming up clutch. Oh, it's an Easter
Brilliant.
miracle. We love it. We love it.
I mean, it wasn't for the lack of effort or chances from Arsenal. They had 23 shots versus Southampton's 8, of which 7 were in target versus Southampton's 4. They had 60 touches in the opposition box. They had nearly 65% of the possession, but it just shows you something's lacking there. I mean, it would suggest that they're lacking a forward threat, really. Like decisive finishers, really.
And yeah, you could say that, but as well, they've got Gyökeres. He was brought in, this big, massive name. How much money did they pay for him? And he's not delivered, has he? At all to the standards he was. But, I mean, Arsenal, I don't know what went wrong for them. I mean, I didn't personally watch it myself. I don't know what went wrong for them, whether it's psychological damage from the final, whether it's just from post-international, because obviously you're flinging everyone back into it at once. But I mean, you look at that now, that's gonna damage them as well, being knocked out in that fashion. Mikel Arteta's not going to be pleased, but to be fair, when is he ever pleased? But also, you look at the Premier League now. With that'll be the one thing that they'll want. They're 9 points clear at the moment. City have still yet to play a game in hand on them.
And they play them.
So if you think about that, if City play the game in hand,
Win that.
it cuts down to 6 points. Play Arsenal, it cuts it down to 3 points.
If you win it.
If we win it. Harry, do you honestly think that they could genuinely go on and slip up from here, from now on, with everything that's just happened?
100%. I think they could have done that, even if they got knocked, even if they went through in the FA Cup. After that League Cup final, I think they could have gone from there, to be honest. I think it'd be interesting to watch tonight's game, because we've got this on a Tuesday and they play Lisbon. I believe it's away. It'd be interesting to see what happens there, if they come out full guns there, because obviously they're in arguably the 2 biggest trophies that are still there. I can't really see Arsenal going the distance in the Champions League. I know that they would love to win that, because that's the one trophy they've not won. But obviously they're going to be prioritising the league. But is it a little bit too little, too late? We saw Arteta pull out, something like 19 players off international duty for the FA Cup game. Look at how that went. Looking at some of the crash outs on Arsenal Fan TV, for instance, they're like going, why isn't Rice there? Why isn't such and such there? Because obviously if you're going into that game, they're believing this is going to be a walkover. The fact that Southampton we should be putting 3 past them. Like I know Dalman's a good player, but at the age of 16, in a competition such as the FA Cup, should you really be playing a 16-year-old in the starting 11 and benching your best goalkeeper and not even having Rice travel down with the squad? There's got to be question marks there. And that's the one thing that Arteta does not need right now, is more question marks about his decision-making, because depending on how this game goes on Tuesday night against Sporting are a difficult side to play, especially in Europe. we could see that go one way or another. And then, as you say, if they lose it, that applies more pressure onto the squad come the weekend. And then obviously they've got the return leg. So by this time next week, they could still be only in one competition and have that beast of City breathing down the neck. And that's not where Arsenal Football Club want to be. It's obviously where I want Arsenal to be as a United fan, but hey-ho, it's...
Well, I think what it just shows is to win, more than one or two trophies, to do a treble, for example, is so difficult, so difficult. And to do a treble across your league and a European competition and the cup competition, it's so hard. And you look, he's taken has he taken a gamble? I don't know if he's taken the gamble, but Mascara and is it Michael Hayes, Gabriel Hayes? You sort of look at that, but you would, if you were managing, you would probably say, this is what I should be able to do. I should be able to go to Southampton. I should be able to pick any of my team, and I should be able to get a result out of it. But they didn't. And as you say, the momentum and the psychological momentum that causes, tonight's a huge game for them.
If you look at their run, though, in the FA Cup, it's not as if they had a difficult running at all.
No.
Exactly.
They had Wigan, Mansfield, and then obviously
they struggled against
Southampton.
Mansfield, though.
I know, that's what I mean. So, if you're looking at that, when United won the league, we had a torrid run of games. The fact we had the likes of Liverpool, and then we came up against City in the final. That's a difficult run. Sorry, I don't know the whole of them off by heart. But if you look at ease of pressure on that squad, you would have thought that they would have learnt the lessons and gone, right, we've got to go full strength here. But yeah, Rod, I think you've hit the nail on the head. It all comes down to the Tuesday's game, especially, not only psychologically, but also looking at the future in the competition. Because if it comes down to one trophy, which, well, realistically, that's what it's going to be, when it's actually set in stone, the only thing that Arsenal Football Club can win is the Premier League. That pressure is going to build in, and it's always the best thing you can be, best position you can have is to be chasing someone, because the pressure is on you at all. If you drop off, you just go, well, the best team won. But if you let a lead slip, that's where question marks arise, and it's a disappointment, especially. So yeah, again, you think the National League's exciting. I think the Premier League is going to spice it as well.
It's going to be interesting, I think.
It is, but I can't believe there's actually quite a lot of hate for Arsenal. I don't have the same hate, I have to say, but it's a really weird thing.
It's not the club, it's the fan base that make them insufferable. The way they're all tweeting, we're going to win the quadruple, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Wow. And the excuses they give afterwards, it's so funny to watch.
Well, there you go. I obviously don't know that many Cockneys. In the quarterfinals on Sunday, I saw part of this game. I think I saw the penalties. My memory's so poor. But it's 2-2. West Ham leads in normal time, and then Leeds win 1 on penalties. Now, something tells me, were these good penalties? I can't remember the story of the penalties.
I think majority of them were saved, I think.
Bowen and Pablo saved, actually.
Yeah, Bowen's was a terrible penalty.
I do remember, yes, it was. It was a weak penalty. He tried to take it to the corner, didn't he?
Yeah, he tried to put it bottom right, and basically West Ham's kid saved it because he had to come on, didn't he? Mm-hmm. Do you know as well, Rod, the goalkeeper that West Ham brought on was the academy graduate of theirs, it's Finn Herrick, that came on. He was on loan at Boreham Wood until a few months ago in the National League, and he played against Altrincham in September.
Wow. Can you imagine?
I recognised his name.
You go from that to that. I've got to say, I mean, look, I have a soft spot for Nuno Espirito Santo. I don't know, maybe it's just his name, maybe it's just his romance, but I have a soft spot, and I would quite like him to do well this season. So it was not about Leeds, actually. I've got a soft spot for Nuno. So that was the story of the FA Cup at the weekend. Sorry,
just with that game, just because it creeps into mind, because our next game is against Leeds United. I just wanted to get your guys' opinion. Do you think the fact that Leeds have gone through to the semi-finals for the first time since 1976, do you think that's going to bode well for us playing them on Monday night? Do you think it's, because obviously we've got a week between games, because obviously we're the televised football club. Every game seems to be on a sodding midweek rather than a weekend. Do you think it's going to do us some good, or do you think it's going to do the opposite and sort of galvanise Leeds to? Because obviously they're still in a relegation fight as well. They've got an FA Cup run, but also this relegation creeping in as well. It's a difficult one to sort of juggle, if you know what I mean.
But it's a difficult juggle because it's also a bit like a derby, Harry. You know what it is, yeah. And those games are totally unpredictable. I think if anything, it probably will make them a little bit more difficult. You know, I think they'll have a lot of confidence from it, but I just don't like. I don't like playing Leeds at any time. Actually, I never feel confident about Leeds, and you know, I don't know. I'm not at the game actually. I'm away, unfortunately, but my daughter's taking my ticket. Yeah, she wants to see dirty Leeds, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they'll be fired up. I have to say, fired up indeed. So
I think even if they hadn't reached it, I think it's still a massive fixture
Oh,
no
yeah,
matter
yeah.
what. And you know full well from playing them previously in the season, they're not an easy pushover despite being in a relegation fight. They've taken points off numerous big sides. Didn't they take a point off you back when you played them, or did you win? I can't remember.
They took a point from us at Ellen Road. So I think it'd be, well, we've got three league games at home left. We've got Leeds, Brentford, and then we've got Liverpool as well. So it's going to be a difficult couple of games there. I'm not saying Leeds is going to be easy at all, because I think it's going to be, well, a nightmare, especially because I'm there in person, because I've not seen them win at home all season. And I've been to four.
Is that a good omen that you're going to be a miracle this time, or is that a bad omen that you're going to lose again?
Well, I'm hoping I'm going to have that sort of charisma like Cantona and just sort of swagger in the place, get the 3 points to swagger out. But I feel like I'm going to get more of a kung fu kick to the face, if I'm honest.
Harry, you might receive a little text message from me to say bugger off.
If you like 2-0 down at half time and you get a message from Rod, that's your sign to leave at that point.
Yeah,
I'll go and have 3 pies instead of 3 points. That'll take enough time. Just let them cool off first.
That's expensive.
Let's just finish off the FA Cup because the draw's been made for the semi-finals. And before we talk about that, actually, I want to talk about semi-finals at Wembley. Now, I know why they do it for commercial reasons, but surely, does it affect you guys in terms of, you know, your attitude to it, the tradition of it, or do you think it doesn't make any difference?
It affects it for me a little bit because I don't really see the point. I feel like the sacred aspect of playing at Wembley it's a final thing. Like, to get to Wembley is a big thing. Like, you don't see. I mean, I'm going to use the Women's FA Cup as an example. They don't play the semi-finals at Wembley, just the final. So it doesn't take away from the whole aspect of it being the home of football. This is where you play your finals. You've got to do your best to get here. I feel like I don't agree with it. I feel like you want to play it at a home ground somewhere, like home or away, or a neutral ground at best, but not being Wembley, if that makes sense.
I can get behind the neutral ground thing because that's how it originally used to be. Villa Park, Molineux, they always used to play home to games. And also I can understand the argument of having a neutral venue, especially if it's like a Manchester derby. Yeah. And all the teams are going down to Wembley. I can sort of justify it if it's an FA Cup final, home of football. I get that. But for a game like the semi-final, it also as well sort of takes the magic out of things as well. I know that you guys have been to Wembley, 12 years on the trot now, which is an unbelievable start. Very envious of that. But then at the same time, when you do finally get there, it does have that magic around it. I think it sort of does diminish it. And I can get the idea of neutral venue so that no team has an advantage, but you could imagine if it was something like Villa Park or Molineux, like a big ground with big capacity. I think it'd be more magical to have that as a semi and then go down to Wembley. But again, commerce triumphs over sportsmanship, I suppose.
Yeah, it's often the cost as well because you can if you look at well, I don't know, Chelsea Leeds would have been a classic one for Villa Park, sort of halfway home, but it's not going to cost you half as much as going down to London as a Leeds fan and having to pay for staying over or whatever. But I mean, it is the way it is. The draw's been made, so it's Chelsea Leeds. And then City Southampton. I mean, City will be the happier in the draw, and they're going back to their spiritual home, if you like. I hate saying that, but and they'll be happy going through Southampton. Yeah, that's a really tough game for Southampton, isn't it?
I think it is, but when we talk about semi-finals at Wembley, I think it sort of puts it into a really it sort of if that semi was at the Etihad, you'd be thinking, right, that's a walkover for City because I think the capacity that Southampton would be allowed is something like 6 or 7,
It's 8,000, I think, for
around
FA
that. So
Cup.
yeah, whereas when it's at Wembley, that's half the stadium is going to be full with Southampton fans, and it's not far to go at all for them. What, 2 hours on the train? So it could have the makings of it. And when you get so close to the final, it's almost in like quite literally in touching distance. I think all form and everything goes out the window. So I think it could be a really, really exciting game. And I suppose as well, as I said, it would have been nice to have someone like Leeds and Southampton in the semi because then at least it's guaranteed that we'll have a new face in the final. Well, for the last this century anyway. So, but yeah, I think it could be an exciting game, and I think as City fans, they'll probably go in as favourites. But I think Southampton could make your life difficult.
They're not an easy side to beat.
No.
Let's go to the Women's FA Cup because there were two quarterfinals on Sunday. Arsenal played Brighton. Was that a surprise that Brighton beat them 2-0?
A little bit, however, I had a little bit in me that Brighton would do it because Arsenal are really struggling with consistency.
Oh, are they really? And
Yeah,
they're
Brighton are a good side. I'll give them the credit. We struggled to beat them beginning of the season. They're a very good side,
so
and
two
their goalkeeper's brilliant.
and 2 goals in the second half for them. It took Liverpool extra time to beat Charlton in their quarterfinal game, but they did beat them. Shaw got the winner after 15 minutes of extra time, I think it was. So late in the game, and then on Monday it was bank holiday football, and we'll start. Actually, there was stay with the Women's FA Cup. It was Chelsea Spurs and. Chelsea came out winners in that, and all London tie 2-1. And City, you were at this game, weren't you? Were you down in Bromley?
I was, yeah. It's like the one ground in Birmingham I haven't done yet. So I've done Villa Park, I've done Solihull Moors. I just needed to do that.
It was at St Andrews then, was it?
It was, yeah.
So what was what was the capacity there,
I
or the
don't.
attendance?
There was like the stand that the away corner was full, and then like the whole of the stand that everyone was in was quite full. So the attendance wasn't announced, but it was a decent, healthy attendance. But it was a terrible game of football.
It must have been because it was Shaw scored in 8 minutes, and then that was it, 1-0, and it was one-way traffic. You had 70% of the possession.
Yeah, it didn't feel that way. It really
Really?
didn't feel that way. I mean, I think it was a poor City performance by our standards of what we've had this season, but it was a very good Birmingham performance defensively. They shut us out very well. I mean, I said to my mates, I said they're not top of the WSL2 for no reason at all, and it shows why they are the top of the league. But I think for a team like us, I think it's important just even if it's gritty and even if it's horrible, you've got to find a way to win. And they did that.
But that's the story of this stage of the season, isn't it? I mean,
Exactly.
it says here you lack cutting edge, but you see out the victory. It's all about the wins now, really, isn't it?
It is, and it definitely is. It definitely is now more than ever. I mean, I'm just going to bring the Women's Super League into what you're saying. It's this stage of the season. City only need 4 points from the last 3 games to secure the title.
Wow.
And it's making me nervous now because we have to face Brighton. They've just beaten Arsenal. And we've got to face them as soon as we come back after international break. And we're never good after international break. That's what makes me panic a little bit. I'm like, oh my God, please do not, for the love of God, let it go down to when I have to go to West Ham again for
Well,
the second time this season.
it says a lot when the Birmingham City goalkeeper got player of the match. So that just shows what they were up against. So that was the Sunday. Was that Sunday? That was Sunday,
Monday.
wasn't it? Monday, and then Monday, Bank Holiday Monday. It finished off with. We'll talk about Ulti. Ulti were down at York. York, who are battling for the. Are they battling for the lead? Are they the National League?
Yeah. Yes.
So yeah, because they're 101 points at the moment. They're top of the league. They're. Do you think they're favourites for the league now, York?
Yeah, I do. I think, Harry, I don't know whether you agree with me. I can't see Rochdale doing it if they're going to keep dropping unnecessary points stupidly like they've done in the last two games.
Yeah, I think this weekend, so this extended bank holiday weekend, has all but sort of etched York City's name into that trophy and into that automatic spot, because there's two games there where they've dropped 4 points, and they really are that slight gap has opened up, and against these two teams who have pretty much been unstoppable all season, if you let either team breathe, they'll run away with it. So yeah, I think York are very much in the driving seat, and as I said before, I think if it did go all the way to the final game, it would be brilliant, and I think that's what all the fans want, apart from York City fans who would obviously love to have that secured going into that game, and then they could go and thump Rochdale without any pressure at all.
It'd be nice for him. I just want to point out, Rod, that with York City, they hadn't beaten us for something like 6 years up until this season. They've beaten us twice. They've scored last minute twice to win it against us. Both goals came in 90 plus something. But also, in that season, Harry, I don't know whether you remember this, in the season, Alty reached the playoffs and finished fourth. York City finished 1 point above the drop.
Yeah. It's crazy how...
Two seasons they've gone from finishing 1 point above the drop to probably winning the league is mental.
Yeah, I think it also shows the quality of Alex Newby as well, ex-Alty lad last season, brilliant, fit in at that York side like a knife through butter, and he's been unbelievable. So yeah, I'll be pleased to see him go up. But yeah, it's a shame that the seesaw has flipped as much as it has done, because we're very close to the drop. Maybe 2 years from now we'll be 100-point Centurions, 100 goals, and flying high up into the EFL. Dreamland, I think that's what it is. Maybe slightly delusional, but I'll take it. It's a warm, sunny day.
Delusion Can't go wrong with a bit of delusion. Solution.
There you go. I love that. Get it on a T-shirt.
A little bit of a trip down history road, because I was thinking about York City and thinking about their history with Manchester United. It was back in 1995. They beat them 3-0 at Manchester United. York City beat Manchester United 3-0 back in 28 years ago. So 1995. Anybody, you wouldn't remember that.
Bit before my time, and I'm hoping I won't be seeing York City versus Manchester United for a long time to come in the league, because either York are unstoppable, or, well, the less to say about United, the better. But yeah, it's one of those games which I think would have been spectacular to go to. I'm glad it's not happening anytime soon for us, though.
Dean Kiley was in net and that day, so there you go. So York have a good tradition, but yeah, they're looking good for. To be champions. It's going to be brilliant. They go to Rochdale, or Rochdale go to them in the last game of the season?
York go to Rochdale. It's sold out completely already. The whole place is sold.
Wow. Okay. Right. Let's move on. So that was your bank holiday Monday. Do you like bank holiday football?
I do. I mean, apart from the fact it's completely messed up my brain, and I think today is Monday.
I know.
It's confused. I don't like that. It's confused me.
Well, you've got Champions League tonight. It's the quarterfinal stage. It's Madrid versus Bayern, and then Sporting versus Arsenal. Predictions for these guys. What do you think?
I think Bayern beat Madrid narrowly, 1-0. And then I want to say Sporting and Arsenal, I want to go 1-1, just to make it interesting in the second leg. Go on, Harry.
I think Bayern are going to win the competition, so I think Bayern will be scrappy this leg, but I think if Bayern get through to this, it's theirs to lose. I would love to say that Sporting are going to win 2-1, and it's a last-minute winner, just like the FA Cup, have a repeat of that. But I think if Sporting go to the Emirates with a goal in hand, I think that would really, really spice the tie up. But yeah, I think Bayern will nudge Real Madrid, and I hope that Sporting will get something out of that game and have something to take to the Emirates as well.
This Gunner love just continues, doesn't it, Harry? It really does. There you go. And then it's obviously the other quarterfinals, a tasty tie. Barcelona on Wednesday. Barcelona versus Atletico, and then Paris Saint-Germain versus Liverpool. Now, Liverpool's season is looking poor. They can save it. I mean, they have done this in the past, haven't they? When they weren't winning Premier Leagues, they were winning Champions Leagues. And Paris will be nervous of a shall we say, I don't know, a Liverpool side that are desperate for a win, because they've got talent there, Liverpool. Paris, it's always you have to watch the wounded animal, if you like.
Yeah, well, Paris have tried every trick in the book to give themselves the advantage. They spoke to their equivalent of the FA and got their latest match rescheduled so that they'd have longer time to prepare for the Liverpool clash. And it's Paris Saint-Germain, obviously winners last season. They'd love to go twice in a row, because I think that the only other teams who've done that recently have been Real Madrid, and then way back Nottingham Forest 79 and 80. But for Liverpool, I've heard rumours that if Slot doesn't get through this round, he won't be staying around Liverpool all too long. So it's a must-win game, not only to continue their European quest for that seventh European Cup, but also as well to try and keep Slot's job on the line. I think quite a lot of Reds would like to see them go out so they could get rid of Slot a little bit earlier than the summer break.
Well, Harry, do you think it's gone anyway, but it would be a case of it's going early?
I think it's prolonging the inevitable. I think it would be a shock if Liverpool do part ways with him before the end of the season, because that Liverpool have always
They don't do
seemed
that.
to give them the time. They've always seemed to give at least 2 seasons for a manager. That's one thing that they've always proud themselves on. But I think Slot this season is, maybe he threw the FA Cup games in spectacular fashion so they'd have longer to prepare for the Champions League game. I don't know. But he definitely needs to get his act together and try something new. I don't think travelling via coach to Paris will do an awful lot, but reports have come out the fact that Slot's making them travel by coach because he believes the fact they keep travelling by air is the reason why they keep losing games. So I don't know if he's trying to build morale, or I don't know what he's trying to do. I don't think it's eco-friendly or whatever. I think it's doing the opposite for Scousers. But yeah, it's an interesting method to try and get a result in Paris anyway.
Do you recall the team who had the player that didn't like to fly and would take the coach? Can you recall who that was? I think it was a Liverpool player. There was one team, and one of their star players didn't like to fly, and he would always take the coach to overseas games. Can't remember who it was. Can't remember, but yeah. Well, it's interesting. I gotta say, you gotta say, being on the coach all the way to Paris. I mean, I'm sure they're going in a very luxurious coach, but it's different from him. I think he's under a huge amount of pressure. But who knows? The Champions League might just save him. Right. Going beyond that, the Europa League, I've forgotten about this competition, but our Aston Villa fans haven't. They play Bologna in the quarterfinals, and Forest also play Porto. I have no idea how this is going to go. Have you guys?
No, I think that'll be an interesting one. I mean, Forest will just be looking to continue this run because, I mean, they're not having much luck in the Premier League, are they, at the moment? So it's kind of one thing that they can enjoy, but I think everything sort of really points to Porto going through on that one.
Yeah. And I think with Villa as well, I think that's that they've very much checked out of the run in the Premier League. There sort of seem to be a lot of tied legs at Villa Park, so you'd sort of think they'd be wanting to get that European trophy. They've got Unai Emery, who seems to be the maestro at this cup competition, the Europa League. I think he's the manager who's won this trophy the most, so he'd love to win that again. And also, it's another way to guarantee European football next season. Don't know all too much about Bologna, but I think a lot of the British fans will be backing Villa to do well. And then as well, in the Conference League, you've got Crystal Palace. So there's still a lot of interest across all of the leagues. As you say, Rod, it's with, I don't know if it's the bank holiday football, the fact United are out of every cup competition, but I'm all sort of out of the loop with European football at the moment.
I really am, Harry. But I mean, Villa, as it stands, Villa are still in automatic qualification for Champions League next year in fourth place, right? So they could be in a situation where they go into maybe a Europa semi-final, final, and they qualify for Champions League next year. That's okay for Villa. I would have thought at this moment in time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even qualifying for them for the Champions League would probably be
Huge.
enough for them to consider it a successful season.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy they've got at the wheel, as Harry said, he's got the most titles. I didn't actually know that until now. He's got 4, hasn't he? And did they all come with Sevilla? They've all come with the same club.
Yeah, against us a couple of times as well, which is even worse. But there you go.
I
Yeah,
know,
it's true. He did. It's true.
yeah.
Yeah.
He won one, and he's reached the fact he's got the most record wins in the competition with 68,
Hmm.
which is really impressive. But I think even just qualifying for the Champions League for Villa is enough for them to consider
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
a
That's good.
successful season.
I think the only thing that concerns me with Villa doing well in this competition and Emery is he's one of those names which has sort of lingered on with the Manchester United job because he has got that success in European football. He's never done well with a title race. Well, look at this season, and there's sort of the very much running on steam at the moment. But he keeps getting linked with this United job. So if he does go get Champions League qualification, it would sort of boost his stock slightly. But yeah, good manager for this competition. It'd just be interesting to see if he can go again and get that fifth trophy.
No, before we talk about the weekend's football, let's talk about a few of the stories around football this weekend. We'll start with our Harry, and I don't mean our Harry Morel. We'll start with our Harry Maguire. He's got a 1 year contract extension, albeit on a lower wage rate. But I got to say, and Erin, I'd be interested in your view on this as a City fan, but I think fully deserved the way he's been this season. Would you both agree?
I mean, I haven't watched enough of him to judge really whether it should be or shouldn't be. But I mean, for you, he's been a great servant to the club, so I'm not really surprised. I mean, I've heard some United fans talk about him. I hear mixed opinions depending on who you speak to, but 90% of them that I've spoken to are very pleased that the fact he is staying. And I mean, hopefully, long may it continue for you guys.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's absolutely essential for success next season. I think it's remarkable. Well, I think he's shown or paved the way for how United footballers should be conducting business. The fact he's been willing to take a pay cut, I think hopefully that is a sign of things to come because we've got a very, very top heavy wage bill at the moment. And I think Maguire, he's been a saviour in European football. He's been a saviour this season as well. And it's that experience, which is what we are desperately lacking in at the moment. And if we've got the likes of Casemiro leaving as well, and we don't know how long certain other players are going to be staying around the club, we do need those sort of leaders in that dressing room, and Maguire is that. And as well, it's the sort of the comeback story. The fact he had the captaincy stripped from him. He's had the fans against him, practically calling him to lead the club, and now he's come back and he's sort of earned that contract. I think that'll do him a world of good in confidence, and hopefully we'll see that confidence across our back line because it has been a bit shaky at times this season.
The other story, I don't know if it's been since we were last on the podcast. I think it probably is that obviously Tudor saw the door early. The Serbies come in, Spurs. Do you think this is a good appointment? Do you think it's a bit of a last gasp emergency pick, or what are you thinking? Have Spurs finally found their man?
I don't know. I think it's more of a panic thing, to be honest. Because I mean, I think they know they needed to bring someone in, and the fact that it just everything seemed to happen too coincidentally quickly. If that makes sense, it just
Mm-hmm.
seems very quick to make a decision and go, look, we want you, come in now. Because he basically said, I'll come in next season.
Yeah.
Just
I,
leave it until next season. Then I've got
I,
the full season to build, and it's like, well, they wanted him now. Is it just to try and keep them up? I mean, has he got a relegation clause in there? If they do,
No,
if they
he doesn't
do,
have a relegation clause. I think that's the one thing that sort of Spurs fans will be pleased about is that he's locked in, regardless if they go down or they stay up. It's a little bit too little, too late. I'm a bit surprised at De Zerbi's appointment. I'm pleased as a United fan as well, though, because rumours have it that he reached out to Manchester United before signing on the dotted line at Tottenham to see if there was any interest there. United said no, and he's obviously gone for the Tottenham role. But again, it's a difficult one, and it's also been quite a divisive decision as well because the Tottenham Hotspur supporters club have said that they can't support this signing because of the comments that he made about Mason
Mason
Greenwood
Greenwood.
whilst he was the Marseille manager. Uh, yeah, that's not good. And also, if you look at his record as well, he's got a 5 year deal. Yet this manager has never had more than 2 years at any club. And adding insult to insult is the fact that he's never won his first 5 games as a manager. And we've got 7 games left. And if you're thinking about bringing someone in, you want someone who's got a track record of winning games and winning games quickly. So, yeah. I don't think it's the greatest signing of all time, but yeah, Tottenham they've had quite a couple big names, and third time to charm. I think they'll be hoping for.
Yeah, yeah, and I just also saw in the news this week that Rasmus Højlund, I think the deal to Napoli has been done. I don't know what. I think they've only paid something like 50% of what we paid for him, but that's not a really surprise. But so he's drawn the curtain on his Manchester United tenure. I wasn't really surprised by that. Were you, Harry?
Not really. If I'm honest, it's always good to see an ex-United player go on and find his feet and sort of show the fact that yes, the business may have been wrong. It might have been wrong time for him, but he's shown his quality. It is disappointing the fact he can perform in a blue shirt and not a red shirt. But as United's business at the moment, we sort of are washing our hands quite quickly, which is what I like to see. Because how many times have we seen players perform well abroad and then we bring them back, pay ridiculous money for them, and they flop? I sort of hope we see this with Rashford as well. Hope we see this with Anthony as well. But only time will tell to see if we can get them off the books.
Yeah, it's a strange story, I've got to say. I still feel a bit pained that it didn't work with Rasmus, but it just wasn't, and it was the right decision. Before we look at the weekend's fixtures briefly, we'll talk about Italy, who are not going to the third successive World Cup. Now, I got to say, this is a huge sporting football. It's just a huge sporting story for a team like them not to go not just once but three times successively. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
It's poor, and I don't know whether it's down to stuff going on behind the scenes, but to qualify for a nation of that size and that stature at World Cups that have won it in previous occasions, to not qualify 3 straight years in a row is bad. I mean, the one thing I look at was I saw a tweet the other day, and it's basically like Italy turned prime for the Euros in 20, didn't qualify for like the World Cup, then came to the Euros, decided to turn into a prime side, beat England for the first trophy since '66, stopped them from winning that, and then went immediately back to being rubbish again. I saw that tweet and it made me laugh a bit. I was like, do you know what? It's true. I don't get what it is with them. They seem to perform in the Euros, but when it comes to World Cup qualifications, it's just like, no.
I was wondering whether that compared to the Italian league of the 1990s when it was dominated by Italian players, whether modern football today where you've got such mobile players across the leagues that actually it's they're not as strong in their own league, and also their league played the way the Italian international team did, whereas now there isn't an Italian style of football. It used to be, it was very defensive minded. Football's opened up, and I just wonder whether there's a combination of the players playing all over the world, playing lots of different styles of football, and football changing, whether that can be linked to it.
I don't know. I mean, in that qualifier, they had someone sent off, didn't they, before half time, which they were already 1-0 up, and he got himself sent off before. So I don't think that's helped him. But I think it's the stuff behind the scenes. I mean, is it Gattuso stepped down now from
Yes, he
Italy
has.
manager,
Buffon stepped
Gianluigi
down as well.
Buffon's also resigned from his position. So I don't know what you make of that, Harry. I think it's behind the scenes that's the problem.
Yeah, I think it's that. I think they've got a better tailor than they do a director of football in Italian football at the moment. They'll be desperately disappointed the fact they've not qualified for another World Cup. But again, I think if you just look at the squad that they had, Donnarumma, arguably the greatest player to never play at a World Cup. The youngest he would be if Italy qualify next time round is 31 years old, which is quite a shocking stat, seeing as though he made his debut at the age of 16. But yeah, it's not as if they had a difficult run either. I think there was footage which showed the fact that they were celebrating that Wales got knocked out by Bosnia, so they thought they'd have an easier run in. So yeah, I think there's an awful lot to sort of ponder with the Italian FA. But yeah, it just makes it it's a bit bittersweet because yes, Italy won't be at a World Cup, but again, it sort of shows that the only team that they've been able to beat when it comes to crunch time is England, and it happened to be at the Euro final. So it's a little bit of a difficult pill to swallow. But yeah, there you go.
Well, look, one other thing I want to talk about the next time we get together is the amount of money English league clubs are losing on an annual basis, because I saw a report and it was a shocking amount of money that the league clubs in England are losing, and how that can continue. We'll talk about that another time. Let's get into the weekend's fixtures. Friday night football, the Premier League. It's WW time. West Ham versus Wolves at 8 o'clock. I don't know. What way is this going to go? I think Hammers should win it. What do you think?
I don't know. I think that'll be it's a weird game to call that because both West Ham need it. Wolves are pretty much already relegated, but they seem to be doing all right for themselves now. But I mean, it's a weird game to call, but I could see that being a draw.
I'd back Wolves for that. I think they have that sort of impotence at the moment where they sort of know they're down, but they're going to go down swinging. So and also West Ham had to go the full distance on Monday night, so I think it's Wolves is that one.
League Premier League on Saturday is Arsenal versus Bournemouth. Brentford Everton is at 3 o'clock. Burnley Brighton's at 3 o'clock. Liverpool Fulham. There'll be a lot of eyes on this game at 5:30 on. Is it TNT at 5:30 on a Saturday? I think a lot of eyes on that game. And in the National League, Alty are at home to Eastleigh. And where are Eastleigh in the league? Are they
just above the drop? They've dragged themselves into it recently.
So it's a big game, that huge game. Then on Sunday in the Premier League, there are 4 games. This Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Nottingham Forest, Villa, Sunderland, Spurs. There's an interesting game. And Chelsea versus City. How are you feeling about Chelsea versus City, Erin?
I'm feeling all right about it. I think with the form that City are on, I think it's kind of hard not to see them winning. But then again, Stamford Bridge is always a very tough place to go. And Chelsea seem to be a bogey side for us.
Monday night football in the Premier League is Manchester United versus Leeds United, the tale of the two Uniteds at 8 o'clock. Harry, I mean, this is interestingly, it's interesting from a lot of perspectives. We were talking just before off air about certain ex-players not being particularly complimentary about Carrick, and we'll get into that maybe another time. But this is a huge game for Carrick. It's a huge game for United, and with the break, they should be ready for this, shouldn't they?
Yeah, the sooner we can secure Champions League football, the better, because then it means that we can start thinking about business rather than football, because we've got a lot of business we've got to do this summer. Obviously, I'm a bit biased because I will be there. It would be great to see a couple of goals. I just hope that United can beat Leeds, because, look, we struggled at Ellen Road this season. Leeds are a good side. They are sort of trying to survive in this league at the moment, so they'll be putting everything behind the ball. But yeah, I hope that Carrick proves his doubters wrong, and I hope that the certain legends you're talking about are just speaking the way they are because they're trying to get views on podcasts rather than what their actual beliefs. Because I think Carrick's the man, and Ahmed's backed him as well. So hopefully we'll be seeing him in the dugout sooner. Actually, someone definitively in the dugout sooner rather than later. The last thing I just want to say as well is we struggled against Bournemouth, and I think that Arsenal may struggle against Bournemouth as well. That's my other shout for this weekend, because they know how to draw, and I think if Arsenal drop points, even if they get 1 point, City again back in that driving seat, it's what we want to see.
Well, on that bombshell, we'll go. This has been the Theatres of Dreams podcast. We'll be back again next week. You've been listening there, Bo Carroll, Harry Morell, and he is staying for another season as well. And myself, Rod Maxwell, we'll be back again next week. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
See you next week.